We're fired up this week than Swagoo, who's ready for LSU, Alabama. College football very much on the brain. How we feeling?
You gonna make it?
No, I ain't gonna make it.
You gotta make it. You gotta pace yourself.
Not gonna make it. They gonna have to wheel me in there.
He's gonna be asleep by halftime.
I'm listening to all of the hype videos.
He's ready. Get Up comes to you live from the Seaport District at Pier 17, brought to you by Chase. And here we go for hour number 2. It's time to get up with what could have been a catastrophic night for the Cowboys. Not perfect, but plenty. Was Dallas, are they among the NFC's elite? And what about the team they played last night? Danny keeps throwing those dimes to guys in the wrong jerseys. Is it time to be worried? And it's the game of the year with absolutely everything at stake. The question is this: which team has the better quarterback, Alabama or LSU? Answers to those and other questions as we begin this hour of Get Up, starting right now. We go back to last night, Monday Night Football, MetLife Stadium, where the Cowboys had played a terrible game a month ago and lost to the Jets. Could it happen last night against the Giants? Dak Prescott, this is the first play from scrimmage.
Not the start you want. It's actually the right read and it's the right throw, but Antoine Bethea, veteran safety, stays patient. Dak throws it right to him. Hot start for the Giants D.
But the theme of the night was they couldn't convert it into touchdowns, so they would kick a field goal. Second quarter, tied at 3. Giants on a 3rd and 14. A great catch, Golden Tate.
Really nice throw by Daniel Jones, but look at the leap, the levitation by Tate, the one-handed snag, and the feet on the sidelines. Big catch by 15.
And this was one time they were able to cash it in for 6. 3rd and goal from the one, Cody Latimer for the touchdown.
Good play design, taking advantage of the man coverage. Latimer dipped in, then went out. Miscommunication on the back end, touchdown Giants.
9-3 after they missed the extra point. Then, whether you believe in this stuff or not, a black cat ran out onto the field, and the game was never the same for the home team. The cat was on the field a long time. People were kind of freaking out. It eventually ran away into the stands, and then the Cowboys ran away with the rest of the night. Just over a minute to go in the half. Cowboys are down 12-3. Not anymore. Blake Jarwin.
Well, this is what happens when one guy on the defense does the wrong thing. Janoris Jenkins plays man, doesn't want to tackle. Dak breaks the pocket, finds Jarwin. Big touchdown for the Cowboys.
It's a 42-yard play, so it's 12-10. Giants decide they're going to try and get points late in the half, and it winds up biting them in the butt. It's an interception by Daniel Jones. They're going to bring it back, and it would eventually lead to a Dallas field goal.
Yeah, Daniel Jones tried to move the safety. He didn't pay attention to him and just thought he would be out of the picture. Easy interception for Dallas.
So Dallas a 1-point halftime lead. They're up 1 in the 4th quarter on a 3rd down. When Dak shows you when things break down, he can find a way to get the first.
And this is something he does really well in 4th quarters when his team needs a play to be made. Nothing's open. Go convert that first down.
Very next play, you want to talk about making a play? How about Michael Gallup?
This looks like a broken play. Dak finds him, and then Gallup shows really incredible athleticism. The jump over defender, land on one leg, and get into the end zone.
23-15 Dallas. Giants would kick a field goal, so it's a 1-possession game. 8 minutes to go. Dak, Amari Cooper.
Players over plays. Find your number 1 receiver when you need him the most, and Dak throws him an absolute dart for a touchdown.
45-yard score. Cowboys are up 30-18. And now here we go. Garbage time here. Daniel Jones. This is going to turn into a 63-yard Jordan Lewis scoop and score. So the Cowboys scored 21 points in the 4th quarter. Don't pay attention to the final score if you didn't watch. Not indicative of how competitive the game was. In the end, Dallas wins 37-18.
If a black cat runs on the damn field on a Monday Night Football game, a black cat, like, you might well call it quits, bro. Like, y'all luck is terrible.
Things weren't good up to that point, so I mean, it could only get better from there. So I thought about that. I definitely thought about that. I guess we'll start rolling now that the black cats come in bad for the Giants. So who knows? Fun. First time I guess I've seen an animal run on the field that I've been a part of.
Wow, the Cowboys ran all over the field after the Cats' appearance. Last night was just the second time in Cowboys history they passed for 250 yards and rushed for 150 in a road game against the Giants. The other came in October of 1983. These are dark days for the Giants defense. I mean, they're just flat out bad, and they're going to make a lot of offenses maybe look a little bit better than they are. So, Swagoo, our resident former Cowboy here, what do you take away from Dak Prescott and the Dallas offense last night against the Giants?
As uneventful as it was the formula for their success. And that's Zeke creating a lot of opportunities for Dak to go downfield. And this defense being opportunistic. I know we talk about the Giants not converting in the red zone. Well, somebody was out there playing damn defense, not letting them convert. So that's a big deal as well. So when we start having this discussion about the Cowboys, because we saw them drop 3 straight, When they dropped those games, Zeke wasn't as prevalent offensively as he was against the Giants. Now, does it carry over? Yes, it can. We've seen this happen time and time again. Guess who the Cleveland Browns beat? The Baltimore Ravens.
Right.
And the Ravens just stomped the Patriots. This is the NFL. Like, this will be a situation where teams are starting to find out who they are, their identity, and they're going to stick to it and see if teams can stop it.
Was there a takeaway that you had, Dan, something that kind of stood out to you watching the Cowboys last night?
Nobody looks good every minute of every 16 games, but this is the only team that we dissect every minute of every one of their 16 games, right? So they won a game. I mean, this is how they win. They're not supposed to be down 7-0. That's panic time for the Cowboys, right? They don't like to play from behind. But they knew they had something in the run game. They stuck with it. When you talk to people there, they believe in this roster. They bolstered it with Michael Bennett at the trade deadline in their bye week. They think he's going to help the pass rush. If they can keep the offensive line healthy, if they can keep Amari Cooper healthy, they think they can play with anyone. Last night wasn't necessarily proof of that. But if they had lost, how hard would you
Well, I mean, it's our job to analyze their performance,
Sure.
right? And so we've got to be honest. I mean, this is another win against a bad football team in an unconvincing fashion. You know, like the Cowboys have 5 wins. They have 1 quality win. There are 4 other wins. There are 2 against the Giants, 1 against Washington, and 1 against the Dolphins. Those 4 teams have 4 wins combined. And so we're going to know a lot about this football team because, again, we think they're a good football team. But they up next have like Minnesota, New England, Buffalo, and Chicago. 4 out of their next 5 games.
We have it. We have the schedule. There it is.
And it's really about the defenses. Like Minnesota, New England, Buffalo, and Chicago all have top 10 defenses, right? The Dallas Cowboys have not beaten anyone this year with the top 10 defense. Their 1 win against Philly, they got the 20th ranked defense. Dak and the Cowboys have not beaten a top 10 team in over a year defensively. So, but we do have to point out the reality, the same way we do at New England, that, New England hasn't beaten anybody. Dallas, their schedule has been soft, and they've lost to the good teams except for Philly, and beaten the bad teams.
So their mission last night was to get to this tough part of the schedule at 5-3 instead of 4-4. So they pulled it off somehow. And they feel better about their run game coming out of the game, I think, than they have at any point this year because they were able to dominate.
And
now,
to me, that's the
what
story.
Defense they do. But, I mean, you're feeling good. That matters, right?
To me, the story is when we start having a conversation about, look, you get to a point in the NFL season where does the way we play football give teams problems in order for us to be successful in the playoffs? The Cowboys are getting to that. They're getting to what has created them to be a devastating team to play against, and that's the run game. Other teams are identifying that as well.
You could say that also rounding in form are the Eagles, and you said yesterday, Dan, on the show that you think that they're probably the best team in the NFC East. Do you still stand by that?
I had an asterisk. I mean, Deshaun Jackson not being available is a massive loss for the Eagles, and that is they're still a good football team, and this still will come down to Week 16. I honestly believe that for the division. But not having Deshaun Jackson is like taking Amari Cooper out of that offense.
Well, let's talk about the team that definitively isn't the best in the NFC East, and that's the Giants, who they have something big to play for, and that something is that guy, developing their quarterback in Daniel Jones, who turned it over again last night 3 times, finishes 26 of 41, 210 yards and a touchdown, and the 3 turnovers. He's tied with Jameis Winston for the most turnovers in the NFL this year with 16. Here's his coach, Pat Shurmur, with thoughts on that.
Don't fumble it. Yeah, just hold it tighter, right? I mean, the decision to scramble to get the first down was the right thing. And then, you gotta make good decisions, and you gotta play well throughout the down, and at the end of the down, you gotta secure the ball. That's pretty simple.
Okay, so you have to just manage to divorce yourself from the tone with which he says things. That's just the way he talks, and that's just the way it is. But moving past that, are the New York Giants, the people who own that franchise, are they satisfied with the rate at which the quarterback is developing and the rate at which the team is performing?
Well, I think it's too soon on the quarterback, and they knew it was not going to be pretty, right, to watch him develop as he plays NFL football games. How could it be? So they knew that when they made the change that there's going to be ups and there's going to be downs, and the downs are going to look ugly. The people who run the Giants thought their defense would be better this year than it is. That has been told to me by many people there. I don't know why they thought that, but they did. and they're disappointed in how the defense has played. And I think that's where a lot of the ire is focused at this point. The young guy at the quarterback, they believe is going to be good. They've seen good signs.
Swaggo, you were sitting next to me the morning after the NFL draft when all the conversation was about Daniel Jones. Here he is in what has been a mixed bag of a rookie season, perhaps to be expected. How do you feel about it as we sit here this morning coming off Monday night?
I think he's going to be a really good player in this league for a long time. Now, here's the deal. Like, Pat Shermer could be as whatever you want to call it. He got to stop fumbling the damn football. Like, at some point, and you practice that. I mean, I've been at practices where defense, when you get around the quarterback, swipe at the ball, show him how to protect it. He has to take care of that. But what Daniel Jones has done from his high points, you look at a kid and say, all we got to do is find that consistency, and he can be a really good quarterback.
Listen, what you emphasize. Daniel Jones will emphasize the fumbles. He will rectify that. He does not have small hands. I was a person who was critical of the pick. I've been impressed with them. I would be pleased if I was a Giants fan or whatnot out of him. He will get the fumbles fixed.
I just think it's ironic that they think it's too soon to tell, but after 2 games they were doing a victory lap and they were already getting his bus ready and his get out of here. Stop.
Listen.
Stop. So where's that now? You anointed him after 2 games.
He is struggling from a standpoint of turning the football over, which most young quarterbacks do. But Daniel Jones has juice. He still has juice. Okay. We have not lost sight.
But you guys can't hate on Sam Darnold because he turns the football over, but then
I don't hate on Sam Darnold. I think Sam Darnold is good.
Speaking of going and hating on quarterbacks, there's been plenty of hate levied at Mitchell Trubisky and the Chicago Bears. As they fall to the Eagles, they mustered 9 yards of total offense in the first half. And head coach Matt Nagy, who a lot of people are pointing the finger at for this, has stressed that the blame doesn't sit with just any one person. He's pointing tons of fingers.
You go back and look at yesterday's game, I'll just tell you, offensively, there's a lot more than just one person, just to keep it really, really simple. And you guys all get a chance to watch. That's the part that's frustrating, is that Mitch knows, and I know, and we all know it goes to him. He gets it. But there's a lot of people involved here that we really believe in that it didn't happen yesterday. That's the part that's frustrating.
He got all the credit for resurrecting what everyone believed was a bust. So does he get all the blame too, Dan?
Oh, there's a ton that goes on head coach Matt Nagy. Absolutely. Go watch. We've talked about this every week with this football team. Matt Nagy's taken a player last year in Mitchell Trubisky, and what he did was, what do you do well, what don't you do good? We're going to major in what you do well, and we're not going to expose you to what you don't do good. Now this year, he's taken everything that Mitchell Trubisky does well, put it on the back burner, and exposed him to everything that he does not do well. Just look at the third quarter yesterday. This was the only time they broke the pocket and did a play-action pass shot downfield. Huge completion. The next play, quarterback design run. The only one, and it goes down to the 1 yard line. But this is not what's going on with this football team. They are trying to make Mitchell Trubisky and this offense something that they're not. And the interesting thing is, when you look at Matt Nagy, it seems, not only with the quarterback play, but the run game and the drop back pass game route concept wise, that he's overwhelmed, that he's just trying to find something in this offense that may work when he has data from last year that will.
Who's going to last longer in Chicago, the quarterback or the coach? Who will they choose, Dan?
I'd say the quarterback lasts longer because he could eventually be a backup. You know, they have him on his 3rd year of his rookie deal, so he's definitely there next year. And I think quarterbacks last longer than coaches.
I have such a huge problem with Matt Nagy saying there's a lot more problems.
Why do you have a problem with it?
Because take the blame, coach.
Yeah.
Like, even if it is a lot of people, and we know it's not just one person, players respect coaches that say, Wade Phillips used to tell us before every game, which gave us the freedom to go out and play. The mistakes are mine. Just go out and play football. I have a large problem with him saying that there's a lot more problems. Just say it's me. I have to get it fixed. That's one step to everybody saying, well, at least he's taking the brunt of what's going on here and he's responsible for correcting it. I never agree with a coach saying it's a lot more problems going on. It's a lot more people not doing. Dude, don't say that.
And your point is right, Mark. Is like that as a player gets you to play free. It gets you to play confident.
Yes.
It gets you to play from a play. You're not fearful to make those mistakes because now everybody in that locker room is like, Are you talking about me? Listen, we've talked for 2 days now about Lamar Jackson, right? And the job that Greg Roman has done with Lamar Jackson. I honestly think the Chicago Bears should be doing the same thing with Mitchell Trubisky. And if we're going to praise the play caller in Baltimore for utilizing Lamar the way that he should, then Matt Nagy has to bear the brunt of the criticism when you're taking a player and you're ruining them. Like, it makes no sense when you have evidence of how to use a guy and then you don't use him that way. And it makes me mad because we place the label bust on a kid when the coach is not doing his number one job. And it's not fair to Mitchell Trubisky.
We have all of these, to go back to a conversation we had in our first hour, all these relationships between these quarterback gurus, of which Nagy is one, and these highly touted quarterbacks, of which Trubisky is one, and one after another, to this point, most of them have been failures. All right, let me run the hurry up now. Dan Graziano, our insider. Let's talk about some key players who may return to action this week. What are we hearing about A.J. Green?
A.J. Green has not played since injuring his foot in the first preseason practice, but we expect that he will be back for the Bengals this week, which would be a huge boost to rookie quarterback Ryan Finley, who was making his first start after having gotten the job from Andy Dalton.
Meanwhile, Arizona, what is the latest with David Johnson?
Sounds good on David Johnson for a return this week. Obviously, they signed Kenyon Drake last week because they didn't have Johnson or Chase Edmonds, but Johnson is going to be back at practice this week. Assuming that all goes well, he should be out there on Sunday for the Cardinals.
Extra time this week. They played last Thursday night. And then most importantly, Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, look, he was close to going on Sunday. There's a belief around the Chiefs that maybe he could have gone on Sunday, but just wasn't 100%. They don't want to risk re-injury. Watch the practice this week. He was taking second-team reps all last week. If he moves into that first team during practice, that tells you that they're thinking about starting him on Sunday.
And of course, if Matt Moore ends up playing and winning, then we'll ask you, is there any word on whether they'll start Patrick Mahomes when he's ready to go?
Yeah, right. Did he lose the job?
There's zero chance of that happening.
But what we just finished talking about.
I'll dig in on that.
Andy Reid, I sure appreciate you for putting a plan together for a guy.
Unbelievable.
Right?
I mean,
unbelievable.
He was in the grocery store. I mean, coaching football in high school, and now he's starting and winning games in the NFL. It's amazing what a coach can do, man.
It really is.
It's
And
amazing.
listen, that applies to the college ranks as well. Because just last season, I was rolling my eyes when Joe Burrow was going, I am football. And now look at him. He's a Heisman favorite. Let's talk LSU Bama. LSU linebacker, though, Michael Divinity left the team for personal reasons. It was announced yesterday, despite only playing the 12th most defensive snaps. He leads the team in sacks. Tua Tagovailoa considered day-to-day and a game-time decision to play given the high ankle sprain that he suffered last month against Tennessee. Backup Mac Jones had 3 passing touchdowns against Arkansas. And on the other side is Heisman hopeful Joe Burrow. Since last year's loss against Bama, Burrow is 11-1, 40 touchdown passes, and a QBR of 91.